So, as you know, the music world is even more angry right now than they were last night after they found out that Frank Ocean's performance would not be live streamed, as the entire performance, as the entire set was a disaster. Now, let's just be clear. When Frank Ocean was actually on stage, when he was actually singing, everything was really good. And even in that, Frank Ocean performed 20 songs, including classics like Novocaine, In My Room, Godspeed, Self Control, and many others with some really beautiful and unique instrumentation. So, the music was actually beautiful. We're not going to sit here and say Frank Ocean, sounds bad or he's fallen off, because that's not the case. This is something outside of the art, outside of Frank Ocean's talent. Now, Frank Ocean, first off, was an hour late to his performance. And I was really worried last night when I was seeing everybody tweet about that. I was like, yo, if this guy doesn't show up, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, people were saying the Coachella Desert is about to be like a literal war fest. And really, like, that's what would have happened. It would have caused riots. That would have been terrible and even worse than what's going on now. So, yeah, I mean, it was a crazy night. Everybody was anxious. Everybody was worried. I knew a lot of people there who I talked to and were just telling me about the chaos, the confusion of it. But Frank Ocean finally came out after an hour and performed 20 songs, but that wasn't even the full duration of his set, as the other headlining acts like Bad Bunny and Blackpink, they had 2-hour sets, and Frank Ocean was supposed to have a 2-hour set also. So Frank Ocean's set was cut an hour short because of those reasons of him being late. So that is a really big blow, especially when you consider that some people paid for the tickets next week and they will probably get the 2-hour set. So even there's just a disparity between what people are paying and actually getting, which is really frustrating. I mean, Frank could still drop out maybe next week. I really don't know what's going to happen after this, because this is just causing a crazy storm. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. But what went down all revolves around this crazy story about how the production just changed at the very last minute. So, in the original stage treatment for this performance, Frank Ocean was going to have an ice skating rink on the stage. There were skaters ready to go, the stage was ready to go, and that makes sense why there was a multi-hour gap in between Frank Ocean and the other artists. So it just explains, like, they were getting this really intricate and really neat stage ready, but for some reason, Frank Ocean decided that he no longer wanted to use that stage. And I mean, that's just a really odd change in itself. Like, you are hours before performing and you decide something that major. Like, that is a, entire logistical altering thing to do. So I just don't even understand how you could make a decision like that on the spot and expect the festival to just clean everything up to take all of that down. So you already just see, like, it was pure chaos. Coachella had to deconstruct the stage. They had to melt the entire ice rink. I mean, that is just insanity. So by doing all of this, they weren't even able to get Frank out on time. And this is why he was an hour late. And I mean, this is just wild. Like, was the stage design really that detrimental to the performance that you needed to do this whole crazy thing to cut your set an hour short? I mean, think about all of the people, all of the prime shareholders, all the prime stakeholders who invested money to see you perform. I mean, listen, I really do love Frank Ocean as an artist, and if he's going through something, I hope the best for him. I pray for him, but at the same time, this is a really selfish and inconsiderate move. This is not a way to treat your loyal and dedicated fan base who really does so much for you. I mean, you see, like, the passion, the dedication, and the fact that these people spent their hard-earned money to come out and see you on such a crazy day. I mean, it's just insane. You could have been watching other artists. These people could have been doing other things with their time and resources, and they decided to get cut short their money just because you wanted to change the stage. I mean, something just sounds really off here. Now, the source quotes that it says that it just didn't seem like Frank wanted to be there. It just felt like he was obligated to be. And again, this honestly just really bothers me. Let's look at some numbers. I mean, besides everything, let's just look at pure numbers. And obviously, these guys are rich, so to us, it sounds like a lot better of a figure, but this is still a lot of money. This is the biggest music festival in the world. Last year, Kanye West was getting paid $8.5 million to do Coachella both weeks. Now, The Weeknd got that same exact price for filling in for Kanye somewhat at the last minute. I mean, there was a couple of weeks to prepare, but still, I mean, that's $8.5 million for two shows. I mean, Frank definitely got a number in that range, maybe more just because of how sought out of a performer he is, maybe less because I don't know if he has as wide of an appeal as Kanye or The Weeknd, but he was making millions of dollars for this performance. So I just, the whole thing where, you felt obligated to be there and you had no interest. I mean, that's just so lame. I'm sorry. There's no other way to say it. I mean, that's the type of stuff people are saying when they got to go to their 9 to 5. You feel obligated to be there. You don't want to be there. You're underpaid. Like, you're making big bucks doing something that you are universally praised for, and you're acting like it's a chore. I mean, it's not like you're forced to be there. You're getting paid and you literally agreed to it. So, this whole thing to me is just very outrageous. And I mean, again, when Frank was on the stage, it sounded like he wanted to be there. He sounded great, but at the same time, something just felt off in its entirety, despite how great the music was. And it's really a shame because all of this drama, all of this stress between the live stream, between the outrage outside of everybody from Coachella, and then the actual prime stakeholders getting screwed over, like everybody just has a bad taste in their mouth. This is honestly like one of the craziest performance stories that we have had in about the past year or two. I mean, this is nuts. Every single person is mad, and there are still people defending Frank Ocean, which, I mean, I get it. I know how it is to want to defend an artist till the end. But at the end of the day, when you are screwing over the people who paid their hard earned money to see you, when you are screwing over the fans who support you, you really got to look in the mirror and you got to question what's really going on. So, again, I hope Frank Ocean's okay. I don't wish anything bad on him, nor do I think anyone does. And if you do, it's not that deep. But I mean, I hope the guy's okay. But this is just really unfortunate. And this is just really weird that you decided to make so many last minute changes. Like, what's the reason? And like, you couldn't have done this a day before. You had to do this like right on the spot. It's like when you study for a test the night before and everything just goes crazy. It's like, weren't you preparing for this? Like, it's really weird. It really makes no sense. And it's really a shame because this was supposed to be a legendary night. Now, going forward, Frank Ocean's set to perform again at Coachella next week, and who knows how that's going to go. I've heard some people say he's going to drop out. I've heard some people say that it's not going to be live streamed again. And I've heard other people say, oh, he's going to be live streamed again. He's going to drop a surprise album and all this other crap. That's not going to happen. So it's really just in the air right now. This is a really turbulent time for Frank Ocean, for the music culture as a whole. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what ends up happening with this whole situation. But now at least we know why the performance was such a mess and why Frank Ocean didn't want the performance to be live streamed. I mean, maybe, I guess, like he thought that it was going to be bad or he was mad. I don't know what it is, but this is just really confusing. And also, Coachella and Frank Ocean now are apparently, things are very tense because of all the trouble, all of the bad press that Frank Ocean has put onto the festival. And I mean, when we look at this in the big picture of it all, we've seen some crazy stuff like Kanye pulling out of Coachella, but even then, I mean, it's better to give 2 weeks than whatever happened here. Imagine this happened with Kanye. I don't think the world would be ready for that. I mean, the media is having a field day today with this. Imagine if this was Kanye. Like, this is just such a slap in the face. And when we look at these festivals, I mean, this whole thing with artists showing up late, not being prepared, it's really becoming a problem. And I don't know how you fix this because at the end of the day, this is a huge problem that spans to literally every single festival in music right now. I mean, Rolling Loud New York, every single headliner was late, and a lot of other acts. Uzi was late, ASAP Rocky was late, Nicki Minaj was late, Playboy Cardi was late, and Future's set was cut short after he was late because it started raining. So it's just absolutely insane what's happening right now with all of these artists. And honestly, as a fan, it makes me not want to go to these festivals. How do you expect us to pay hard earned money if you're not even going to show up, if you're not even going to care about your performance? It's just very frustrating. And it really poses the bigger question of what is the future of music festivals if this really keeps happening, along with, terrible events like the Astroworld tragedy and even like Kid Cudi when he got assaulted on stage. Like, this is just a crazy era for concerts. And honestly, with all of that, with all of this controversy, I just want to say shout out to the artists who are always putting their all into the performances, making sure they're on time. If they're not on time, having a legit reason, being genuine about it, because at the end of the day, this is just becoming crazier and crazier, and it's becoming more common for artists to skip out on shows, show up late, and it's really a shame. Again, I don't know how you can expect a fan to pay their hard-earned money if you're not going to respect what their purchase is, what the time commitment is. So all in all, there is a lot that needs to be fixed, but for now, we're just going to have to see what happens. Let me know your thoughts on this whole Frank Ocean situation. What did you think of his performance? Let me know all that in the comments. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Fantastic Hip Hop, signing out.